Today's gospel seems tailor-made for our times. Keep awake. That thing we hear at the very end of this gospel reading today. That's what we're told. Keep awake. In other words, be ready. Have your toilet paper because you don't know when you're going to be able to get any more. We're also told you know neither the day, the hour, nor the day. You don't know the time that change is going to happen. And that certainly continues to be the truth for us and the reality for us right now. And just like those bridesmaids, there's a lot of waiting and waiting and waiting. Also, just like those bridesmaids are divided into two groups, there are those in our world today who are able to sit and wait patiently. Whether they are doing so internally or not, I do not know, but at least they give the semblance of waiting and sitting patiently. And then there are others who seem all of a sudden to stand up and shout and run into the streets saying, "I can't take it anymore," as they're maskless and manic. But it is hard to wait. And it's hard to live in the midst of uncertainty. It's hard to wait for an end that we know will come. We're just not exactly sure when it will come. Now, it may be a shocking surprise to you, but being prepared does not mean hoarding toilet paper. Instead, being prepared means listening to our psalm this morning. It means trusting in God. Being prepared means listening to the words that we heard from Paul this morning, the words he spoke to the Thessalonians. It means reminding ourselves that in the end of it all, God is there with us. God is there with us, and in the end will take us up in his arms. Trusting in God doesn't mean that things won't be difficult. We know from our experiences that we will always face hard times. And those of us who have done so with faith know that no matter how faithful, no matter how fervently we believe, we still will face those hard times. I think it's safe to say, too, that this year in particular has been a particularly hard year for all of us. Trusting in God doesn't mean that things will immediately get better. What trusting in God means is that we know that God is present with us, even as we go through those hard times. Trusting in God means that we know, no matter what we face, no matter what difficulties come our way, that God is present and there in the midst of it all with us. So instead of toilet paper, here's a new thing we should hoard instead: our connection to God and our awareness of God's presence. Specifically, our awareness of God's presence when times are difficult in our lives. Because if we can hold on to that, if we can hold on to that connection, if we can hold on to that awareness of God's presence with us, then we will never go through difficult times alone. Even when the times we go through are long and painful, if we can hoard that connection and awareness to God, then we will know that we are never going through those times alone. We always have a companion in our Lord.